What's up, moviegoers? Welcome to the Marchio podcast. I'm your host, Anthony. In today's episode of the Marchio podcast, I'll be talking about the horror comedy movie, Leprechaun. Yes, that beloved little Lubden leprechaun that you love. I guess that's how you say his name. I'm not too sure. The movie is a horror comedy. It stars Warwick Davis in the title role, who you may know from the movie Willow, and also stars Jennifer Aniston in her film debut. Now, Warwick Davis plays a vengeful leprechaun who believes a family has stolen his pot of gold. As he hunts them, they attempt to locate the gold to vanquish him. The film was originally supposed to be a straight horror film, but with Warwick Davis adding humor to the role, that definitely changed quite a bit. Now, here's the thing that I love about this movie. It's definitely more funnier than it is a horror movie. There are some interesting gore factors in this movie that appeal to the older audiences. Warwick Davis playing an antagonist is different. You don't really get to see him as an antagonist in any movie he's in, but with this movie he played one, and like I said, it's a humorous movie. It's funny, not much of a horror aspect to it. The only time maybe you see the horror aspect about this movie is when the leprechaun shows up out of nowhere certain times. There's a few jump scares, but other than that, that's it. Now, this movie was made for a budget of $1 million. Now, the budget for this movie was $1 million, and the box office gross was $8.6 million. So it did make a lot of money back. The only question is that the reviews for this movie were terrible. People saying that the acting was bad, the directing was bad, and all of it, which was criticized. And it's also been called Jennifer Aniston's worst film. I'm pretty sure this is probably her best film because, she hasn't been in any good movies. Now, the movie is only 92 minutes long, and it's a quick watch, and it's really fun. I enjoy this movie, like I said, for the laughter and the humor. And the way this movie came about, Mark Jones, the writer-director, had a career in American television shows. And he wanted to make a film, and he decided that a low-budget horror film was his best opportunity. Now, I have to agree, anytime you have a low-budget horror movie, it's always the way to go. Mark Jones, the director, was inspired by the Lucky Charms commercials to create a leprechaun character. But the only twist he wanted was that he wanted to turn the character into an antagonist. Now, Jones was also further influenced by the film Critters, which featured small, furry antagonists. So Jones brought the concept and idea to Trimark, who were looking to get into the film production and distribution business. Now, Leprechaun became the first film produced in-house by Trimark to be released theatrically. Now, in a past interview with Fangoria, Jones stated that he began writing the script in 1985 and spent a long time developing the Leprechaun character, which he initially envisioned as a horrible, murderous creature, but which became more of a comedic and developed character before filming began. Warwick Davis, who had experienced a dry spell after the protagonist in Willow, loved the script and was excited to play against this type of role that he's never played before. Now, Jennifer Aniston was cast as she was an unknown at the time. She impressed Mark Jones with her audition, so he had her cast. Now, in most of the movie, Warwick Davis is said that he did perform his own stunts, and for the scene where in the movie where Davis chases Aniston in a wheelchair, Aniston had to run in a slow motion so that Davis could keep up with her, as he had trouble manipulating the wheels because of his short stature. If you actually look at that scene and if you watch it, it's really funny. And just the way it's done is really great. Several scenes had to be reshot after the producers insisted that the film be made gorier to appeal to older audiences. So think about that. If you take out the gore factor in this movie and you just leave it the way it was, it probably actually would have been much more of a comedy than a horror movie. And like I said, the gore factor in this is not that interesting and not that good, other than certain aspects of it where it's just, wow, surprising of how it's done. But the leprechaun kills is, different in a way, but interesting, so to speak. I mean, you could say that Leprechaun is on par with the Chucky character from Child's Play. They're both short in stature. One's a doll, the other's a mythical creature that nobody, pretends that it's good luck. But just don't steal his pot of gold, The interesting thing is that this was a low-budget horror movie, which is great. And the thing about it is that if it's a low-budget horror movie and you get $1 million, you can do carte blanche what you want with it. And they made a fantastic movie. I can't say anything wrong about Leprechaun. It's a good horror movie. And adding the factor that Warwick Davis added humor into the role made it that much better, because all you can do is you can just root for Leprechaun in this entire movie, and it's so much fun to watch, and anytime it's on, you have to check it out. Now, the thing is that a Leprechaun is not usually on around the Halloween season, but it's on around St. Patrick's Day, of course, because of the leprechaun and the Irish theme that it has to it. And also, a lot of time you see this movie on the Sci-Fi Channel a lot, and more so than ever. It's like this is the only one that they show. They probably show the other sequels on Sci-Fi, but this is the one I see a lot more of. Like I said, whenever it's on, you have to catch it, even if it's the last 30 minutes or 45 minutes, or even if you watch it from the beginning, you definitely check it out. And seeing Warwick Davis in this role, really boosted his character and boosted his career a little bit. And, he starred in all the sequels except after the 6th movie, and it's great to see that he can reprise his role like this and make the movie work. So let me know in the comment section below what you think about the movie Leprechaun. And if you enjoy it anytime it's on, and do you think it's more so of a comedy than a horror, or do you think it's a horror more so than a comedy? And like I said before, I see it more as a comedy than a horror, but with the gore aspect on it to appeal to larger, older audiences, the horror aspect is still in there. And what do you think about Jennifer Aniston's first acting role? Do you think it was good? It was bad? Could she have done better? And do you think that any movie she's been in since then is worth watching? Because I think Leprechaun is her best role. Any other role she's been in, it's nothing that's very interesting to watch at all. It's more so of a love story or romantic comedies that she's in. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought about those questions I just asked. And be sure you tune into the next episode of the Marchio Podcast, where I talk about Leprechaun 2. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new videos and new podcast episodes on the Marchio Productions YouTube page. And follow Marchio Productions on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And follow me, Anthony, your host, on Instagram and Twitter at misterfilmstock. And follow the Marchio Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll leave a link to all the social media accounts in the description box below. You can check it out and follow along. All right, everyone, that does it for today's episode. I'm your host, Anthony. Thanks for tuning in.
You're out to Rosie, a bucket full of posy. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.